So this one took me by surprise. I gotta be honest. So there was a letter. It came out last night, yesterday. At least that's when I heard about it, was last night. It was an open letter, uh, basically to call for the cancel of cancel culture. Actually, I respect uh, Chomsky and a lot of people who signed the letter, and I thought like, okay, like it's a good thing. I'm not for cancel culture. I've argued that again and again. When Jimmy Kimmel recently came up and they wanted to cancel him for blackface, I was like, look, cancel him because he's not funny. Cancel him because he's not good at his job. Don't cancel him for that, because then people will have that excuse that, well, he only got canceled because of the racist thing. But he's really funny. No, he's not funny. His show stinks. Um, but J.K. Rowling's also signed on to this, and I as of last night, I'll say this. I didn't plan on talking about it. It wasn't until the backlash from this letter, this open letter to support debate without uh, uh, the intolerance of opposing views, without the which is the name of the letter, by the way, snuck that in there. See, crafty. No, but without just permanently wiping people out off of social media or getting them fired from their job or completely destroying everything that they worked for. I really, really didn't think that cancel culture was such a big deal in our country. I gotta admit. And I know some of you are like, yeah, but aren't you on the left? And yes, I am. I mean, technically, I'm a populist left, which means I've been canceled before and I've had to deal with them. I've had a right wing listener, I think like on BitChute, actually, canceled me. He said I used an offensive term because I said far right. That was actually my first experience to cancel culture doing this kind of show, which I was completely shocked because I have said some horrible things. But it really was the response to this letter that made me talk about it. In fact, uh, there was a situation that was on a more public scale that happened at Vox, where Matt Iglesias had signed the letter, and a few of his I almost said employees, but a few of his coworkers, other reporters, had commented on it, and one of them was I believe a reporter or an editor, I believe by the name of Vander Werf. Okay, I could say that much worse, but Vander Werf um, had made public comments about Iglesias signing it. She said, it makes me feel less safe at Vox. Um, I don't want him fired or reprimanded or even asked to submit apology, but I do want to be clear that those beliefs cost him nothing. She continued, I'm used to hearing them from people who believe my own lived experience pale in comparison to their own monetary social media discomfort. I am sorry to find Matt among those voices. Um, she did make the comment that she was disheartened to see that his signature was amongst many of the of a letter with so many dog whistles towards anti-trans positions. She also stated that she felt like she didn't have as big of a voice as Matt. And Matt is, of course, entitled to his own opinion. And she says, I know he is more than a nuanced thinker than signing of this letter would suggest. He has been nothing but kind to me and has often supported my work publicly, all of which I'm extremely grateful for. What does that tell you? Honestly, Vanderwerf in this situation, I don't know. It seems like a letter that should have been an email that fired off amongst Vox employees at the most extent of it. At the very least, have a conversation with the guy. Like, shouldn't you do that before you make a big public spectacle over it, and then say, "Oh, well, no, 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 I don't want him reprimanded, or I don't want him fired, or to submit an apology, or nothing like that. I just want to make my opinion known on a mass scale." that I think he hangs out with anti-trans people. And I don't feel safe at my job anymore. But no, 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 don't make anything happen to him. Really? Um, and the anti-trans thing was in relation to J.K. Rowling's, the Harry Potter author. Apparently, I don't follow this stuff very well, but apparently she has made anti-trans remarks and refused to apologize. Which, if I'm being honest, I respect that. Not that you're anti-trans. I don't really think that. I don't respect anyone if you're anti anything except for, I don't know, maybe anti chopping off dicks. I don't know, but um, I do respect that if you have a principle and you don't apologize for it, it's fine. That's who you are. If you're a trans person, you don't buy Harry Potter. Fine, problem solved. And I think that was the whole point of this letter was let me have my view. You can have your view. If you don't like me, don't support me, don't talk to me, don't engage with me. But don't try to get me erased from our society. And if you read somebody like Noam Chomsky, who was one of the authors of this letter, you understand that he is the type of person who is a very far right person. Yet he has often, along with Bernie Sanders, fought for people like David Duke to be able to speak in public because it's incredibly important that even if you disagree with someone's beliefs, in fact, in cases where you do disagree with their beliefs, then it's even more important that you allow them to be heard and that you, in fact, listen. Maybe you missed something. Maybe their ideology just didn't hit the mark the last time you heard it and you should hear more of it. There's nothing wrong with that, or you can choose not to participate at all. But to wipe them off of the public stage merely because it offends you is incredibly self righteous and honestly immature. And we're seeing this so much anymore. It's completely disgusting. Some of you know that I talk to comics quite a bit, and I have um, a connection with a lot of comics. They are the ones who I think are affected by this more than just about anyone else, because they can say a joke 10 years ago that was pushing the line. That's what comedy. It's what comedy is all about. Is pushing a line, being right up against it. Then a few years later, we move the line and it's not acceptable anymore. And now they're canceled. It's not right. It's not fair. And again, if you don't like it, don't listen. Don't buy it. I've always felt that way, no matter what it is. And the fact that this is seen as more of a far left thing now, it's actually the thing that disturbs me the most about the term progressive and why I don't use it anymore is because it's often associated with cancel culture. And I promise you that the progressive I know, actually mirrors more populism and doesn't adhere to cancel culture at all. In fact, pushes back against cancel culture constantly. So it affects me in that sense that even if I disagree with Richard Spencer, I still think it's bullshit that they're wiping his videos off of YouTube, off of Reddit, off of all that stuff. It's disgusting. Alex Jones, another guy who I disagreed with because I thought he took too many liberties with a lot of things, but he was entertaining as fuck. I'll give him that. And, but there was no reason to wipe him away. He didn't do anything that bad. Even if he was inaccurate sometimes. But fair enough. What about Rachel Maddow? Rachel Maddow's inaccurate like all the time. She still has her job. It's a popularity contest. It's American Idol. It's that episode of oh, I forgot the Black Mirror when you can vote people in or out of existence, and it's exactly what we've become. And to the point when somebody like Noam Chomsky, I would argue a genius in our day, authors a letter that begs for just public debate, and that's all? Hey, can we just have freedom of speech and talk about things? And then he gets pushback on it by a lot? That's a huge goddamn problem. I I have said my entire time, whether it be radio, comedy, um, whatever. I've always stood by the fact that our First Amendment is the reason this country is so great. It is above and beyond the cornerstone of Americanism and what it is to be a free American. And even if you look at the ideas that were brought forth by Orwell prior to the classic 1984, he said when Americans freely give up their First Amendment right is when we have to worry. And that's exactly where we're at in so many ways. It's a problem. It is a huge, huge problem that if you are a younger person, and it's not just the younger people, it's not because everyone manipulates it one way or the other. Ah, Colin Kaepernick, he's kneeling. Brr. It's not just people using derogatory terms. In fact, I even brought it up before. The only person who's actually ever called me out on an offensive term was a right winger, because I said far right extremist. I think it was a bridge too far. I'm offended. But then they would say, well, how come I can't say the N word anymore, or the F word, whatever. I mean, but I do think that this is far more prominent amongst millennials and Zoomers. You guys, you got to pull back. I'm telling you, especially if you're in that age range and you're listening to me, just stop. Okay? Look, no one's out there advocating for people to freely use derogatory terms. That's not the point we're trying to make. The point is if you publish an essay that says, "Hey, certain races might be more prone to violence than other races," you shouldn't get canceled for it. You can get questioned, you could get debated for it, sure, all of that. That's totally acceptable. But to cancel them for it? Just nope, sorry, you're out of here. It's I don't know. I feel like it's stupid to even be talking about this. I can't believe that that's where we're at in our country, and I'm not even that old. Um, I can't imagine if you're somebody who's like in your 50s or 40s and you've lived in this, you've seen a lot. Uh, it seems incredibly foreign to me at my age. Anyway, I'm curious about your thoughts are on this. Where's your thoughts with this? I can't imagine anyone would be against the letter, but if you are, tell me why. Why am I wrong to be supporting the First Amendment and an open debate? Why are you against that? Why is that a bridge too far? And obviously, if you're for it, love to see. Did I miss some talking points that are important? What's important to you about our First Amendment? And is this a step in the right direction with Noam Chomsky and Matt Iglesias and all these people signing on to this letter? Do you think that other people, especially amongst the right, should actually pick up this mantle and help move this letter along and try to get public persuasion? Because a lot of these people I know are on the left. But to get more people into it, should the right come in and help? I think they should, to be honest. I think that would be a good move all around. I think we should all pick it up. Um, to me, the First Amendment is one of the most important things in our country, in our lives. Because without the First Amendment, we can't call out anything else. I would argue that it's up there with a lot of other injustices. A lot of them. Maybe even more than the Second Amendment and than certain social justices that are important to me. It's more important than a lot of those things. Because without that, we can't voice our opinions. We can't complain about those things. I think this is one of those things where we should come up with a movement for it. Change your picture to the First Amendment or something. I don't know. I'm not good at that stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious what your thoughts are on that one. You guys take care. Have a good evening.